Welcome back to another episode of the Bethel Park Historical Society's Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. It's been several months that we haven't been able to film for obvious reasons due to the pandemic, and unfortunately our fundraising efforts has been squelched because of the pandemic. We're not able to have people in the schoolhouse to do venues. Hopefully that'll change. But needless to say, we still have been working behind the scenes tirelessly, so we thought it would be a good opportunity to come in and give you a tour of what we've been able to accomplish during this difficult time. I'm standing in the Earl and Sylvia Hollinshead Memorial Library, and as you can see, this room has undergone significant changes from 2 years ago. We were very pleased that the Hollinshead family had actually donated this room under renovations for their grandmother, who was instrumental in starting the first public library in Bethel Park, which was actually underneath the military museum, aka the old principal's office behind me. The doors are closed right now because we want to reveal all the work that we've done in each of the other rooms. So stick with me and take this tour as we go through the old schoolhouse. We're standing in the main lobby on the first floor, and two of the rooms I want to highlight is our bathroom and our kitchen area. But first, let me stop and point out this wonderful new addition. It's an over 100-year-old porcelain water fountain that John Oakes from All Pro Plumbing was able to install for us, and it was graciously donated by Andy Amrine from EV Hardware. So it actually works, but obviously during the pandemic, we don't have people in the building, so it's not being utilized. So the first room we want to check out is the bathroom. It was significantly smaller 3 months ago, and John Oakes, who owns All Pro Plumbing, graciously donated his time to come in during the pandemic and completely renovate the bathroom to make it 100% ADA compliant. So not only did he gut the ceiling, the walls, the floor, he actually moved a wall back 2 feet to allow a wheelchair to be able to rotate within the bathroom itself. All the fixtures are brand new. We have an electric hand dryer, a hand sanitizer, and even a baby changing table. So we're standing in what was once, we believe, the teacher's lounge at the old schoolhouse. And through the generosity of the Rotary Club of Upper St. Clair Bethel Park, the Breakfast Club, they donated $10,000 to have this room named after them. And what we put in here was a working kitchen. I'm standing next to another donation that we received recently from another school that was torn down in Oakland, and we fortunately were the recipient of this wonderful old scale. Nothing takes you back to your grade school days when you had to do height and weight day at the grade school. Okay, we're standing in what was once a photography studio. It was covered in pegboard and blue carpeting. The walls were a mess, so literally we came in and gutted the entire room. This was funded by the generosity of Betty Millar in honor of her grandparents and the rest of her family, the Hoff Lime Pencil family. What's interesting to note, not only did we have the walls skim-coated, but we also were able to have the transoms in all the first floor classrooms renovated. They were stripped of years' worth of paint. The glass was even painted, and of course on one side it's smooth, on the other side it's rippled, and of course they painted on the ripple side. Harold Rosenberger, a graduate of Bethel Park High School in the 60s, generously donated his time in an after-school project of stripping all these transoms. I gave him one. He was happy to do it. I said, would you like to do another one? He's up to 13. He only has 3 more to do on the upstairs. So we greatly acknowledge and thank Harold for his contributions. They are currently unstained and unpainted. We're hoping to get original wooden doors because unfortunately all of the doors were previously damaged. And if we're able to do so, we'd ideally like to have the doors and the transom stained. But if that's not the case, then we'll have to paint them white. In addition, over my right shoulder is another door that we found downstairs and that we retrofitted in the past couple of days. This door leads into our kitchen. So this classroom is now used as a co-op space. So we have several local artists who have classes here. We also rent this out as one of our rooms for a venue, whether it be a graduation party, a birthday party, a wedding or bridal shower, you name it, we'll rent it out to you so you can host your private event. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, a lot of those parties have been canceled, but we're preparing all these rooms and hoping in the near term we'll get the parties rolling again. So we're now standing in our military museum. This used to be the old principal's office, and what a transformation this has become. Over my right shoulder, this used to be a doorway into the classroom next door, but we decided for the sake of security and to give us wall space in the other classroom to close this off and install bookcases. And as you can see, we've already filled them up. We were fortunate that we were able to get 8 showcases donated to us, so we've been able to very easily organize all of the items within our collection. We tried to organize this room by war. Unfortunately, we have so many wars in our history. We've started off with the Civil War. We have a bugle from the Civil War. Each showcase represents a different period of history. So we have the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Korea and Vietnam, and some items from Afghanistan. So again, if anybody has any items from their grandfather, their great uncle, they're looking for a home to display, we would proudly welcome those items. In addition, we were fortunate that the American Legion donated some of its collection that was housed at the Bethel Park Municipal Building, so that's now in our collection, and we will be rotating parts of our collection over at the Municipal Building on a quarterly basis, so look for those items over there. Some of those increased items that we were able to get were about 4 rifles from World War II that were from Japan. We also have quite a nice collection of canteens from World War II, not only from the US, but from Britain, from Japan, and from Germany. So all the major powers that participated in World War II, we have items from that war, which is really a fascinating collection for us. So we hope once the pandemic is over and we're open again that you would come in and browse and just enjoy this beautiful collection. So we're now standing in what we call our Coal Miners Museum, and it's basically to honor the coal miners that worked in both the Coverdale mine and the Molinar mine. And we were recently donated this rather large image of the Molinar mine, mine number 3, and it's dated from 1930. And in addition, we have several other photographs of that mine. So we've got lumps of clay, miners' lunchbox, and pickaxes and several other items which were just part of the daily routine of these miners who literally broke their backs trying to dig out the coal and keep our homes and our businesses warm. So I'm standing in our boardroom, and this is another room which we rent out for venues. And I'm standing next to the fire exit door, which is one of the doors that needs to be replaced in the transom. So during the pandemic, one of my fellow classmates, actually 2 of them, were having an argument on Facebook over the presidential debate. Now, we don't want to get political, but these 2, needless to say, one was on the left, one was on the right, and they basically said, put your money where your mouth is, and let's see who the winner of the presidential election is going to be. And why don't we donate the proceeds from this bet to the Bethel Park Historical Society? So I'm always up for any type of fundraiser, and so within, let's say, 2 hours, my fellow classmates from the class of 1978 were donating to our PayPal account. We actually raised $2,500, which is the amount that we needed to replace this exterior door onto the fire escape. Now, the other fire escape door in the other room needs to be replaced, and through the generosity of the Rotary Club of Upper St. Clair and Bethel Park, the Breakfast Club, they had given us a $2,500 grant this year to do that. So out of the 11 exterior doors, those are 2 more doors that are going to be replaced relatively soon. So thanks again both to the Rotary Club and to the class of 1978. So we recently got the plans approved to redo both the boys' and the girls' bathrooms in the lower level. Those have been approved not only by the architect but also by the borough. So we're going to be starting the renovation soon. When we start that area, we will obviously do this area to connect it to the first floor. Also, over my left shoulder, you can see the rope that it rings the old bell that we've been able to bring back to the school. And when we go outside, we'll actually demonstrate and listen to how it sounds 112 years later. Okay, I'm standing in what used to be the old boys' bathroom. Over the past winter, we took down the wall that separated the boys' bathroom from the girls' bathroom, and that's over my left shoulder. The stairs that we were just filming in, if we came down, that would previously just go into the girls' bathroom. We're going to create a hallway off of those stairs, so we have access from that staircase to both the boys' and the girls' bathrooms. In addition, there will be entryways in the basement. So the tenants that we have downstairs, Janet Furtney's Improvement Through Movement, our ballet studio, will be able to access the bathrooms and not have to go upstairs to gain entry. So still a lot of work to do. Fortunately, John Oakes of All Pro Plumbing is again going to come in and help to build out this bathroom, both these bathrooms, and hopefully within a relatively short period of time, we'll have 3 functional bathrooms down here. And I say 3 because we're actually not only adding a boys' room, a men's room, and a ladies' room, but we're adding a family bathroom also, which will be great. So stay tuned to further episodes and you can see all the improvement down here. So I'm standing right inside the area as you enter into our building. We call it our little niche. You know, it's beautifully decorated during Christmas, but we were fortunate to find this shelf/coat rack behind us down in the basement, and Skip Horneck, one of our board members, refinished it for us. Once we hung it, it looked a little empty, so I quickly ran upstairs and pulled through our collection a number of vintage whether they be leather jackets or baseball jackets. The blue one over on the left-hand side is from the 1950s. So it adds sort of a uniqueness to this area and says, hey, the kids are in school. Obviously, you see me sitting in an old desk that was donated to us. Fortunately, I don't have to sit through a class because it's kind of not my size anymore. One of the other items that we had donated to us was a vintage payphone. And I can remember vividly at the old Park Avenue School, which is now demolished and home of the community center, that in the front doorway in the niche there was an old payphone. So Sue Irwin Bauer donated this. It was her dad's. He had converted it to a lamp. When she gave it to us, I took the lamp parts out and we proudly hang it inside our niche. We have someone who comes into the building, one of our workers. Every time he comes in, he takes the phone off the hook, so our phone bill is going to be our long-distance phone bill is going to be huge. We're now on the second floor, actually in the lobby of the second floor. And one of the things I wanted to highlight, during the pandemic, Keith Jacobson of Jacobson Electric realized that we were renovating the bathroom and one of the walls had been exposed. And he said, hey, how about if I donate rewiring your fuse panels to the main power of the building? And we said, hey, if it's free, it's for me. So he came in and did that work. And then the board made a decision to kind of bite the bullet, because it was a perfect opportunity since no one was in the building, to actually replace the electrical panel on the first and second floors. So interestingly enough, after over 100 years, the building finally has circuit breakers. So we have a circuit breaker panel on the first and second floor and in the basement. So basically what that means is the entire building has been rewired and is up to code. So we certainly appreciate Keith's efforts, and I'm just going to show you. He actually added some extra circuit breakers for future use, because the thought is we've recently reached out to the state. We were fortunate in 2016 and 2018 to receive $140,000 each year for grants from the Gaming and Economic Development Fund. We applied for another grant for this year. We're hopefully going to get it. It's for $170,000, but that is going to be for heating and air conditioning system for the second floor. So keep your fingers crossed, and hopefully it'll be a lot cooler or a lot warmer depending on the season upstairs. What an incredible room this has turned out to be. Originally in 1905, it was an auditorium, one large space. At some point in time, they added a wall and created 2 classrooms. It was important to the board of the Bethel Park Historical Society to return much as possible the building to its original 1905 and 1917 floor plans. So we actually tore down the wall and completely gutted this auditorium. And through the generosity of the Bethel Park Community Foundation, they donated $10,000 for each side of the room. So in total, it was $20,000 donation, which we're very grateful. And this will become the Bethel Park Community Foundation Auditorium. One of the challenges that we had was there used to be a tin ceiling, which was beautiful in both of these rooms. Unfortunately, because there was a damage to the roof years ago, the tin ceiling had water damage, had rusted, and was beyond repair. So much to our dismay, we had to tear down that ceiling. But we were able to re-drywall, and we also took off all the plaster because, again, because of the ill-fitting windows, we had a lot of water damage underneath the window sills. So we took the opportunity to add insulation to the entire room. We've re-drywalled. It's become a unique space for us. We're hoping once we get this space either heated or air conditioned, this will be a much more usable space and will be utilized for large parties or for lecture halls. Through the generosity of TOV Church Pittsburgh, they're one of our tenants who hold a Bible study class every Sunday. They wanted to show their gratitude and do a donation. So they've actually contributed a rather large flat screen TV, which will hang on the wall, which will aid us in our lecture series. In addition, one of the other challenges that we had in this room, at some point in time, the room over my shoulder, they added a secondary floor on top of the original floor. So when we tore the wall down, this created a different level between the two rooms. Obviously, we couldn't take up the entire floor and put in new hardwood flooring. That would be much too great of an expense. So through the generosity of Brookside Lumber, they created a very long piece of oak. It came in two pieces, actually, this long plank, and then made a transition between the two floors. They're also where the sort of lighter stained wood is, there used to be conduit running from the basement all the way up here to provide heat from the coal furnace. So one of the challenges there, again, for us is we had to put in a new subfloor and add additional oak plank flooring. Once this floor gets sanded and stained, we're hoping that these sort of transition periods and the new floor will blend in seamlessly with the old floor. So still a lot of work to do in here. We still have to do some trim, add some baseboards, some wall, some casings around the door, and then obviously prime and paint. But stay tuned for further looks in this beautiful space. So the last time we were in this room, it was filled not only with junk and debris, but the floors were badly damaged. We were fortunate, again, during the time of the pandemic, to be able to call in a floor refinishing company that had done some work for us on the first floor. So they came in and completely refinished not only the floors in this room, but in the lobby and the hallway also. Very shortly, they'll come back in and do the auditorium and the front foyer, and one last room on this floor, and then all the floors in the building will be finished. We were fortunate, and we talked about this the last time, that the Bethel Women's Club had donated $10,000 to do the restorations of this room. Initially, it was 2 rooms, and so at some point in time, we'll put the wall back up. This side of the room will be named after the Bethel Women's Club, and we still have an opportunity for someone, if they're willing, would like a room in the old schoolhouse to be named after them. We would be more than happy to accept your $10,000 check, so thank you in advance for that. Okay, so we're standing in front of the Bethel Park Historical Society, home to the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, and what a change over the past year. We were fortunate to get a grant in 2018 to replace the roof. The roof was over 25, 30 years old. It was badly damaged, so that money's provided us with a brand new roof. And while we took the opportunity to replace the roof, we also took down the old metal round vent for the old coal furnace. Obviously, we're not heating the building from coal any longer, so the vent was no longer necessary. It was basically an eyesore. In addition, and then sort of on top of the expense for the roof, unfortunately, as I said, we got a grant for that, there was a $15,000 surplus charge to restore the cupola. And through the generosity of an anonymous donor who gave us a $10,000 check, and through funds raised from various other people, we were able to completely restore the cupola and, most importantly, bring back the historic 1905 bell. If you remember, this bell was taken down in 1973 because they were concerned that the weight was too heavy, and it was just a little under 1,000 pounds. It was stored started at the Park Avenue School in the mezzanine, the breezeway actually of the building. And the class of 1978 had raised funds, and I actually was on the committee to build the Bell Pavilion. So who knew that 40-some years later I was still dealing with this bell? When they tore down the campus, they took the bell, put it in storage. Once the new high school was built, they brought the bell back out of storage and put it in front of the new high school. And at some point in time, they spray painted it orange and black for obvious reasons, but it was kind of it wasn't the best thing for the bell and its historic significance. So last summer, we had broached the school board, and they unanimously voted to have the bell returned back to its rightful place. So we were fortunate to have the bell raised into the tower, and it's now operational. So welcome back to this historic treasure for us. So we're standing in the front entrance of the schoolhouse, and I wanted to highlight a couple of things here. Foremost, behind me are the engraved brick pavers. During this time, we're still looking to raise funds, so we have a couple of fundraising opportunities if anybody is interested. One of which is our engraved brick pavers. They're $100 each. There's a form online on our Facebook page, Bethel Park Historical Society, and ultimately the driveway behind me will be repaved with donated bricks that we have in our backyard. In addition, we also wanted to do something special for these graduating seniors, whether it be from the high school or from college during the pandemic. So part of the driveway is going to be cordoned off. It's going to be our pandemic section. So we've had several seniors that have their parents or their grandparents have purchased a brick in their honor, which will be placed in that section. And while we're standing here, I just have to point out the beautiful flowers that Lisa Jenkins of Jenkins Lawn and Garden Center donated, and Lynn Duna, also a member of the local chapter of the DAR, the Bethel Fife and Drum. She has been watering and tending these flowers over the past several months, so thank you both to Lisa and Lynn. Lastly, the stair rail was donated by Eric Mendel of Mendel Steel, which is right up the road here at South Park Road. So thank you to the Mendel Corporation for donating this wonderful handrail. Okay, so we're standing on the front lawn of the Park Avenue side of the building, which is the original 1905 section of the building. A couple of things I wanted to highlight here. Through fundraising efforts, we came up with another program. It's called the Park Avenue Beautification Project. And basically, many years ago, Park Avenue was lined with beautiful trees that had outgrown and been torn down, so we decided to replace those. So again, through the generosity of Jenkins Lawn and Garden Center, they donated the trees. We're getting them at cost, and they're installing them. They're going to maintain them for us, and the cost of a tree is $500. And with that gives you perpetual care and a plaque which will be placed in front of each tree highlighting the person for whom you want to honor. So right now we've planted 5 red maple glory trees, and there'll be a beautiful red-orange color in the fall. In addition, we also have sponsors for the 2 dogwood trees in front of the building. And as you can see, I'm holding one of my favorite coffee cups from Reginald's Coffee Shop. And fortunately, Reginald's has been able to stay open through the pandemic. We have allowed them to utilize another room. They've actually rented out another classroom, which has window service. So if you want a good cup of freshly brewed coffee, please come to Reginald's. They also started Reggie's on the Lawn. So over my shoulder, you can see a bunch of people that are in Adirondack chairs. They also have blankets that they're on the lawn and enjoying their coffee or iced beverages from Reggie's on the Lawn. So please stop by, say hello, and support a local business. So thanks to Reginald's for the coffee. So I hope everyone has enjoyed this tour of the schoolhouse. We, as I said, even through this pandemic, through the generosity of the community and local businesses, we've been able to survive and continue to do some renovations. As you've seen on this tour, we have accomplished a lot. There's still a lot to do. If you want to get involved, by either donating items or coming in. We do volunteer nights on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5:30 to 8 o'clock. Even though I don't have my mask on now, Dave and Anthony are socially distant, and we do practice social distancing when we're working. So just wear dirty clothes and bring your mask. How you can help financially is always a big gratitude on our part to those that actually do. We have several fundraisers. We talked about the engraved brick pavers. We talked about the Park Avenue beautification project of sponsoring a tree. We're going to continue to go up Park Avenue. We've been working with the municipality to actually extend that line of trees all the way up to the community center. So that'll be quite beautiful when those are all planted. On September 21st, the Fantastic Four charities, which basically comprise the Bethel Park Historical Society, the Bethel Park Board of Education, the Bethel Park Public Library, and the Bethel Park Community Foundation, is hosting its third annual golf outing at the Nemacolin Country Club. And we will provide information to you if you would like to sponsor. And this event is still going on because obviously being outside, everybody can be socially distant and responsive. And one of the last fundraisers I'd like to mention, we started this last year at Christmas. It was a veterans ornament program that we sponsored, and it was a huge success. And actually, this is one of the ornaments. It's made out of ceramic. So basically what you would do is you would send us a JPEG of your veterans in his or hers uniform, and it is put on this Christmas ornament, and on the back it would be the a person's branch of the military. So we also have forms in which we can provide to you for those. So we hope you enjoyed your tour. We look forward to showing off our building in the future. If you have any party needs, it's never too soon to plan. And we hope to see you at some point to enjoy what we've actually done here for you to see it in person. So this is Bill Haberther. I thank you for watching. Take care, everybody, and stay safe.